But anyway, there's a joke about many religions. So this is today's joke, which I hope many people have been waiting for. I saw a few people with their heads down, so getting a bit bored. There's an old joke I said many, many years ago, but it's been several years since I mentioned the joke about there was a Jewish rabbi, an Anglican priest, a Catholic priest, and a Buddhist monk. And they just had an interfaith session, and they were just broke for lunch, and they were very friendly with each other. They got to know each other for a long time. And so just after lunch, I was sitting down there, and the Jewish rabbi said, we've been friends for such a long time, and sometimes it's very hard for me to say these things to my other sort of co-religionists, because if this got out, my reputation would be ruined. I just need to say to somebody that I've got a problem. And the other, the Anglican, the Buddhist and the Catholic said, what's your problem? You can tell us, because we're not Jews, we won't tell anybody else. And he said, well, actually my problem is I'm a gambler. He said, when people aren't watching, I go on the internet and gamble. Sometimes, I go in disguise down to Burswood. I lost a lot of money. He said, I'm addicted to gambling, and I can't tell anybody else because I'm a rabbi and people will not really understand. I'll lose my reputation, even my job. The other sort of hope, the religious people say, well, actually it's a wonderful thing you tell us this, because when you actually open up to somebody else, you're opening up to yourself, and there's actually a possibility you might do something about it. So they really praised him. And the rabbi said, well, it was really hard to get this off my chest, but I feel so much better afterwards. Does any one of you want to sort of admit your faults? And the Anglican stopped for a few moments. He looked very serious. And, okay, he said, I didn't really want to tell this to anybody. If it gets back to my church, I'm done for. He said, just after the communion on Sunday, any wine left over, drink it all up. Not only that, but just back in my room, any bottles of whiskey. He said, I'm an alcoholic. And I've hidden it for all these years. No one knows sort of I'm a bad alcoholic. And I was quite surprised. He looked such a good guy. But they said, it's good, at least you let us know. And they looked at the next one in line, was the Catholic. What about you? And he said, oh, it's much worse. Much, much, much worse. What is it? I said, can I not tell you, please? And they said, no, please, you must tell us. And so he took a sigh and he says, it's adultery. But worse than that, sort of I'm going with the husband of one of my parishioners. I'm a gay adulterer. Well, that was terrible, they said. A person in your position do things like that, but at least you let us know. And that's wonderful, you can get it off your chest. And then he looked at the Buddhist monk. And the Buddhist monk looked at the clock and said, it's about time we went back. He said, no, there's plenty of time. Come on, what's your worst fault? And he looked at his three friends, the rabbi, the Anglican priest, and the Catholic priest. Look, I can't tell you. Please, I just can't tell you. He said, you can tell us. It can't be anything worse than gambling, alcoholism, and gay adultery. What could be worse than that? He said, friends, it's much, much worse than that. Don't ask me. Now I'm sure you're all thinking, what can be worse? What could be worse than all these three? And he said, please don't let me tell you. But there's no way out. They forced him to tell. And he said, my problem, and I tried to stop it, I just can't. I'm a gossip.